that's how Romeo and Juliet saved Pythagoras from the quadratic formula. What questions do you have? Anybody? Nothing. Okay. Engaging learners in online spaces can be quite the challenge. Hi, my name's Keith Tramper. I'm an educational technology consultant at Kent ISD, and I'm here to talk to you about one of my favorite duo of tools for engaging students in online spaces. Join us as we explore Google Drawings and Jamboard. All right, let's get started. Google Drawings has been my favorite tool for a long time. If you're not familiar with it, it's sort of like Google Slides, only if you had one slide. It allows you to create awesome graphics in a really short amount of time. I've worked with a lot of teachers who have used it to create all kinds of different digital and analog learning activities. And Jamboard may be one of my new favorite tools. It's essentially a collaborative whiteboard space that can be shared with your learners. It makes group interaction and engagement visible to you as the teacher, and it's way more engaging. Plus, it gives a chance for all the voices in your class to be heard. Now, put the two together and you have a deadly combo of engaging and organized spaces for your learners to engage in digital learning activities. So let's take a look just how easy this is to create something for our students. First, I'm going to open up Google Drawings. I need to make sure that my backdrop matches the backdrop in Jamboard. So I'm going to go to File, Page Setup, and change it from the standard 4:3 to widescreen 16:9 and hit Apply. Now they match up. Next thing I'm going to do, I'm going to create something that's a simple activity for my students to do, and it acts like a pulse check. So first, I'm going to go to Insert an Image and search the web for traffic light. And grab this one and drag it over. Perfect. Now I'm going to put some bounding boxes on this to give my students space to respond. So I'll just drag a big rectangle here. This one will be for the red zone. So I'm going to change that to red. I'm just going to pretty it up here with a white outline, and we'll go size 8 pixels. Okay, now I'm going to do the same thing for yellow and green, but I can do this easily by just holding down the control button while I drag this down, making sure they line up with the red. So now I've got 3 boxes. I'm going to make this middle one yellow and the bottom one green. Okay, now you'll notice there's an issue because I've got this image back here that just got covered up. To bring that to the front, I'm going to hold down Control, Shift, and tap the up button on my keyboard. That'll put it back on top. So now I've got a good thing. I think I'm going to take this now and put it into my Jamboard. I'm going to go to File, Download, and I can choose JPEG or PNG. I'll select PNG. And to import it, I'm going to set the background, choose the image option, and then drag this one over right into the upload box, and it will become my new background. Now I'm almost there. I've got a few more steps to go. I need my students to be able to interact with this. So I'm going to create some sticky note placeholders for them. I'm going to shrink down the size of this so I can fit all of my students on there, and I'm going to hit Control D a bunch of times to duplicate that. So you'll see that kind of duplicate for as many students as I need. Okay, one last thing I need to do to get this in my students' hands is make sure that this is shared properly. So I'm going to go to Share and make sure this is available so anyone with the link can edit. Now all I need to do is copy this link at the top of my screen and paste that into my Zoom chat box, into Google Classroom, or anywhere else that I need my students to get access to it from. When they get in, they can type their name on one of these notes and they can drag themselves into the area that represents how they're feeling at the moment. And as a teacher, you'll get a snapshot from the class on how well they are following along with your material. So that's just one example of something that you could do using Google Drawings and putting it into Jamboard to organize things and make it engaging for your students. Let's take a peek at a couple others that I've used or seen around. The first is a brainstorming consensus document. So you can see directly on here I added directions. So there was no need to add anything else. It was a very simple activity to do. Folks were contributing to this question that I posed at the top, and they were allowed to put thumbs up around the things that they thought were important issues to discover as a team. Here's another example of that from my friend Larry Wynn at the MySTEM Network. He set up this brainstorming activity to dig a little further into empathy and take a walk in the shoes of many of the different groups that we're trying to serve. Another brainstorming technique is the Gripe Jam from Jenny Majera. I created this little template to kind of help navigate that, but essentially it helps folks identify different barriers and identify which ones maybe take priority so that you can focus on maybe a good coaching relationship or developing some professional learning. It's also a great tool for inclusion. You can see here, this was one where folks contributed some different images about how they were feeling, and I used that to kind of break them up into different breakout rooms where they could discuss the things that they were working on and come up with a song that matched the picture. So just a fun way to get people engaged in the learning. Four Corners is another activity. I know that is very popular, but you can digitize that in Jamboard really easy. Just like you see here, you can use this template to help you do that. One other inclusion activity is called JotSpot. This is by Chris Sajner and modified by Chad Riffle. And this was a way to kind of get people to think about their commonalities as they got into a meeting. One of my favorite things to do here, and this takes a little bit of work, is to take Google Slides and actually convert them into interactive presentations. So what you're seeing here is a presentation that I had built entirely in slides that I just dropped right into Jamboard so that folks could kind of get in and interact with me throughout the presentation. So you can see some of those learning activities displayed on the screen here. If you're working with littles, you can actually use Jamboard to make interactive tools, just like this magnetic letters template. So you can set one up for each student. The cool thing is, as the teacher, I can watch in real time how my students are doing to spell out different words. Maybe I challenge them to different reading words that they need to know. Here's another example of an interactive using base 10 blocks. As a teacher, I could present a challenge to my students and have them drag and drop these different base 10 blocks around to modify their numbers. Another idea here for interactive is peer editing. So I could set students out into breakout rooms and they could peer edit each other's work using this glows and grows protocol. These are just a few examples of different ways teachers are using Jamboard and in some cases using drawings with Jamboard to engage their learners in online learning spaces. But the awesome thing is, once you get the hang of these tools, the possibilities are endless. These are just a few resources that I'm going to point you to. They're also linked in that resource document that give you a handful of templates or ideas to get started with. So check out the work from Chris Sajner, Jill Stockey, and Holly Clark on the different things they've created and collected in Google Jamboard. Okay, now it's your turn. I want to know from you, what are you doing to engage your learners in online learning? Take a second and go to bit.ly/jamdraw-yourturn. That will bring you to a Jamboard that's just for you to collaborate and talk with each other about the different things that you're doing to engage your online learners. Early in the video, you saw me talking to a class full of John Hughes characters. Maybe you knew him, maybe you didn't. But somewhere on that screen is somebody who is not a John Hughes character. If you can find that one character and let me know, shout it out on Twitter and include me in it, and I will shout you back. Thank you for checking out this video. I hope you found something valuable that you can use with your learners as early as tomorrow. My name's Keith Tramper. Thanks again for being here. Thank you for all that you do, especially in this year with all the extra energy and time and uncertain environments that you've engaged in to help your students continue learning through this pandemic. I know it has not been easy, and I am eternally grateful for the work that you do. Thank you.